dance, comment on a recent event. The floor is yours. Come speak your mind for free. Appointments are available Mondays and Wednesdays between 1 and 3. Call 871-5554 today to reserve your spot.
Maui's free speech station.
I give no strings, I have good fun. I know more ties with anyone.
KAKU 88.5 FM.
The Neutral Zone, with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to thank Maui Arts and Music Association, Treemakers Foundation of Maui, for their support. Since 1991, with hundreds of television shows and their MauiArtsandMusic.com website, they have championed self-sustainability on Maui. The Neutral Zone is heard live Mondays at 11 a.m. and replayed Saturday at 7 a.m. on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. Hello, good morning, everyone. It's 11 o'clock on Monday. We're on the Neutral Zone here on radio and TV and all kinds of media. Welcome. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. So many men sold away. And I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and faith. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you. Hope you get my name. But what puzzling you is the nature of my game. Good morning, everyone. Aloha. I'm Jason Schwartz. We're here at the Neutral Zone. These are my blue glasses to go with my blue shirt. You know, as I am not seeing, I have all these fun accessories. Elton John is, I wouldn't say retiring, I'd say retired. So maybe we'll have him on the show and see what kind of glasses he wants to wear. I have a terrific guest today. Not only a wonderful man, but an incredibly talented guy. Some of you know Sevan Thometz. Now, that name rolls off my tongue because I know Sevan. I've known you, 25 years maybe over the...
Pretty much from the beginning that I've been here. When I was here in 92.
Well, when you came in 92, I was here 4 years already. I got here in 88.
All right.
And, it seemed that early on I met a guy named Dr. Ed Elkin.
Ah, yes.
Well. And I know that you know him and lived with him for a while.
Yeah, probably how we ended up coming into contact.
That's how we got in contact. And I only knew you as... Oh, that's my artist roommate, Sevan. and I knew you because you had done a couple of murals.
Yep.
And when I saw these murals around Maui, and I was like really impressed. And here you are, living there with my friend Ed Elkin, Jarrell. If you're up in Kula, go to Kula Hospital. Go say hello to Dr. Elkin. He's there at the Kula Hospital. But that's... when I met you, and I thought, man, this guy is super talented. And I was in 1991, I formed the Maui Arts and Music Association, and I was looking through Lahaina, sometimes thinking, okay, we need sponsors, we need to find galleries. And I was always shocked, because when I saw your work, I saw you're not only doing murals, but you're doing all kinds of other media. And I didn't see you. I thought, wow, this guy is great. At some point, I expected to see a rocket go off in the sky. In 1989, I discovered this just yesterday. I'm talking, but we should say hello, Sevan. Oh, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing? How's everybody here?
Jump in liberally, because my mouth just keeps going.
Well, that's part of your job.
No, but Sevan's art... You were doing murals. I saw this beautiful article from the Los Angeles Times that talked about a mural movement, environmentalist in Santa Monica who has grown into a nationwide plan. Tell me more about that.
Well, that was actually my first mural.
Oh, really?
And that mural was 150 by 50 feet.
Wow.
Basically, at one point, Sea Shepherd was the actual sponsor.
Okay.
And it was to, basically talk about the whaling problems,
Is that Paul Watson, that group?
Right, Paul. I talked to Paul directly and some of the other folks that were part of that. It took me a year to complete it. At the completion, there was a group of people that were walking from the base. Well, they had chosen my mural to start their walk across the country. So basically what
I'm looking at here is I'm just looking. The volume level looks high, and I just don't want it to distort if I can help it.
No problem.
Okay. So they discovered your mural?
They discovered the mural and decided that they wanted to begin the actual walk from the base of that mural. Before I go into that, I wanted to express that we also had worked into that mural the community effort of children to do the bottom section of that mural. There were over 300 children that ended up doing that. That was pretty exciting in itself, and I remember the day. But after that, I had communicated with the person that originated the walk, and I said, I want to be able to precede your walk and do murals so that when you come into that area, you would have a mural to go to begin your conversation and news orientation.
So this environmental movement, did you do that? Were you going across the country?
I did.
Murals.
I went from Santa Monica to Santa Fe, then to Hereford, Texas.
There you go.
And then from there to St. Louis.
Do you know if any of these murals are still up and out?
I think they're probably all been, it's 1982, 92. I don't believe they are.
So you really were taking a journey. Where else did you go?
Well, the end of the journey for me was in Washington, D.C., which basically I was supported by, I guess it was UNICEF, because they were doing a focus on the children of the world, feed the children. So that mural was focused on the children and different inoculation, different things like that to help the poor children of different areas.
When you started the first mural, what was the first mural's vision? Do you have it by chance?
I do.
You do. Well, you on radio, you're going to have to wait until you go to either Facebook Live or MauiNeutralZone.com or KAKU on Facebook. You'll see it. You'll also see it on YouTube. You can look it up. But for you on television or on whatever you got, it's YouTube, God knows that. The media thing is a big blur to me. There's visual.
There's all kinds of places.
It's up everywhere,
It's not the very best picture in regards to it, but this is the...
So what we're seeing here is, turn it up a little bit, like you. Hold it up a little. Okay, there you go. So the people on the video can see. Now, when I look at that, is that a wave or is that a whale?
Well, there's a whale and a wave. Let's go to it. I'm showing this because this shows the size, dimension, and so forth. You can see the people here.
Wow.
And
this is in a newspaper. Is this the New York Times?
Yeah, this is not the New York. This is Santa Monica Times.
Santa Monica Times. We're in an age where people can look at these things better than we ever.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking about showing it on TV. You can look on the net and see.
That's another shot of it.
So the Santa Monica newspaper, 1989. This article was probably also December 17th, 1989. Well, from that, when I see whales, I remember when I first got here years going on, and I remember the above and below deal, and I was looking for a logo, and I said, there's Wyland and Lassen and the combination of artists working together. When you came over here, were you like, oh, these guys are sort of doing what I'm doing, or what? Hey, these guys are following me?
No, actually, I don't know if I felt that, because at that time, the actual mural that I did in Santa Monica was originally going to be done by Weiland.
Oh, really?
But there was some problems between Weiland and Sea Shepherd.
Oh.
There was an attitude problem.
Yeah. From Weiland himself.
Right.
Yeah.
So they basically nixed that with him, and somehow, I can't even remember, I ended up falling into it.
Because when I got here and I saw Weiland doing his thing, I met him and his brother. You know, I developed this Maui Arts and Music Association. And I always thought I was going to be seeing your stuff, because your talent has always been something I have been really very amazed, you know.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
And when I put your name in on the internet, Sevan Thometz, you'll see it on screen, SEVANTHOMETZ. And I looked at art. I mean, I saw a site, Find America or something like that.
Right.
Where you really worked in all kinds of different worlds, in realism, in abstract, very versatile. Did you just playing with it? What drives your creativity?
That's a good question, because I never know. I'm just, well, you know, I will bring up something. I think possibly what really drives me is the desire to express the emotional soul that all of us experience, and somehow to connect with that and put it out there so that other people can experience the triggering mechanism of what creativity does to the individual.
So, by example, I mean, it could be that you draw an image and people are drawn to that image and what's going on, but you're really looking for the essence to trigger something in somebody to where even their response is creativity.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's a terrific thing, because I saw things that I thought, oh, it looks like Marguerite. Well, it looks like Alain Vital. Alain was we talk about roommates.
That must have been a challenge.
We were roommates for 3 days. 3 days.
Didn't last long.
On Central Avenue. You know, Alain is the high charged artist. And remember the whale in Kihei that's up there?
Right.
Charmaine was supposed to turn it into a spouting whale.
Uh-huh.
They didn't put up the money, and then Alain abandoned it, and that was quite an excitement.
A lot of people have expressed, well, I'm the one who did that.
Little David?
Oh, yeah, David. Oh, David, yeah. Yeah, he's an interesting character. He used to be called Man with the Hat. Lono sang a song.
Little Red Man. We used to talk about it, and he wrote that song.
That was.
He's everywhere. He's still around.
I haven't heard him or seen him or anything.
He's in Kihei.
He is in Kihei.
I see his hat.
I know the others. Yeah, I know.
He used to be in California, and when referendums and things, he got paid for getting signatures, and that was his livelihood. And then they changed the law there years ago, and I think it was, to get referendums, they want signatures to go on ballot. They're doing it now, for example, in Florida.
Right.
And they get so many dollars per signature of correctly registered voters, and then you submit it to the registrar. That was his past. Very interesting guy. One of our men.
One of Kihei's. Yeah.
Anyway, that's a funny story.
Yeah.
But creativity. When I was just talking about you, you are incredible. I've seen you do sculptures.
Have you seen those sculptures?
So now let's talk about it as we're looking. Now that looks like a beautiful wing. Is that a wing of something we know?
It's a woman's wing, woman in there.
I'm doing it for the television.
If you go to my actual web page, you can see it much clearer.
Well, we'll have to do
Yeah.
that another time,
Yeah.
only because I just brought these 2 pages up to remind me, but I'm not hooked up actually to the internet here, I don't think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you
I'd be
are.
surprised if I was.
You'd have to be to get there.
Once I got the pictures,
Oh, I
what
see.
I did was, now see, I'm not hooked up to the internet. I brought it up so I'd have some other image other than on my phone to
Right.
remind me, oh yeah, I want to remember to talk about art. Oh, you're this piece. When I see your art, let's get back to the sculpture, please. Like, each one is so interesting and different. Wings, is that a full
That's
bird?
a
Is that
full
turtle?
woman. That's a woman.
Let's see. Tells you what my eyesight's like.
Yeah, yours is about as good as mine.
Oh, that's beautiful. Is this stuff up on many of your websites?
Yes.
What's your web address?
It's 3
The number 3.
RD
RD
leveldown.com.
level down. thirdleveldown.com.
Yeah.
That's a whole other subject. What's that?
Well, basically, where I live is a multi kind of structure, and I'm at the 3rd level down.
That's very funny. That is very funny. You know, when I think of that, I think of, do you remember, my mind is really in a funny way today. There was a fire in Maui Meadows years ago. I was living with Ariel on Cupola. And Cupola was Hokipa Drive. And Lily Townsend, who I'm sure you've met, our Minister of Fun, was living in Alex and Eros. That's another interesting people. Were there. And then there was this fire. And their house, each level had a full house.
Uh-huh.
You know, and each level was going down when you go down the side of a property that's like this,
Right.
you build like that.
That's pretty much where I am.
Yeah. In mid-Kihei,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, you've been to my studio.
Down from Kanani. Oh, yeah. I know where you are.
Yeah.
I am always interested to think. I mean, I saw Lindsay, and when you were living on that other street there, Maui Meadows. You were Maui Meadows.
Yeah, I was there for a while.
Yeah. That's what I think maybe that's when I met you.
No, we met before then.
Okay.
Yeah, because basically you had given me an interview when I was living off of Kanani, directly off of Kanani.
Oh.
It was that house that was kind of second down from when you turn the street.
I said, wow.
I'm real close to where I was then.
This place has changed a little bit over the years, hasn't it?
Oh, man, it's changed a lot. It's amazing.
I feel the pain.
Yeah.
Remember when we used to go down the Kihei Road and make a left-hand turn?
I remember that.
It was exciting.
I also remember the times when you used to be able to go to Kihei Cafe, and they would have a post where the horses would be tied to. That was in, 92? Yeah. And lots changed.
It has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, and some of it sad, some of it good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so heartbroken as I would be if it had been like big, tall buildings. And so far, they have kept it relatively low-key.
Yeah, well, there's that funny balance between it. I like the idea of low, but when I think about the housing problem, and I look in Kahului, for example, and I see that a single-family residence, by the nature of the zoning with zero lot line, and then they build these things up and build 4 or 5 bedrooms upstairs, and we used to call them hotels. Little hotels, basically, where a family comes from another country,
Right.
Someone owns it, and then all the relatives come, and it's just or no relatives. That to go up a second level, it could save us using our open space, which we need for other things. Like this used to be a vacation place with open space, and beaches. I go down to south of the Kealani there, you know, that little spot where we had an opportunity. Our Mayor Lingle, there was money that was available, and she chose to buy something else instead of this piece of land that would have been a beautiful beach for us to preserve. And now it's all houses, and for a few $1 million, we bought a little sliver so we have access to the beach. That whole place has really turned into a mega rich.
Yeah, well, so far I'm fortunate to be able to still be living there.
No, man, I was going to say. And here I am, fortunate, but I'm talking about when we look about housing and we look about, like you're talking about the changes, some are good, some are bad. I guess the one that always jumps out to me is the incredible crowds we have there.
Yeah.
Remember in the 90s, do you remember when they were talking about population growth was going to be a major thing?
Mm-hmm. And we said it was going to be a major thing, and they didn't want to listen. No. And now it's becoming more and more a problem. We're going to end up probably, I don't know what we're going to do about the water supply for one.
I don't know. We're going to take a break for our sponsors, but yeah, we'll come back and talk about all that. I'm with Sevan Thometz, an extraordinary man, but also an extraordinary artist, etc. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, so hang on.
Get a jump on protecting Maui's coral reefs. No need to wait for Hawaii's new sunscreen law to go into effect. This is Archie Kalepa asking you to make the switch today to sunscreens that do not contain reef-harming oxybenzone or octinoxate. Find out about better choices at mauireefs.org/sunscreen. Sponsored with Aloha by Maui Nui Marine Resource Council, Maui Visitors Bureau, and the County of Maui Office of Economic Development.
The Neutral Zone with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to sincerely thank David Bryan for his support. David was founder and head of school at New Road School in Santa Monica, California, and is the board chair at the Ojai Foundation and on the board for Brave New Films. The Neutral Zone is heard live Mondays at 11 a.m. here on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, and again on Saturdays at 7 a.m., as well as on TV and on MauiNeutralZone.com.
I'm David Packman, host of The David Packman Show, heard Monday through Friday on KAKU 88.5 FM at our new time, 4 o'clock. Analysis, commentary, interviews, and more from a perspective not offered on corporate media. Not only news from the front lines of progressive issues, but facts that are factual and information that is actually informing. The David Packman Show, heard now at 4 p.m. on KAKU, the voice of Maui.
How's it? I'm Brother Tony from the local show. KAKU is one listener-supported station. That means that all the kind shows you hear, like me, are sponsored by you, the listener, as well as our underwriters. If you would like to help keep the voice of Maui talking loud and clear like that, go to kakufm.org/donate and give today. And don't miss the local show Monday through Thursdays live at 1 p.m. on 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, and in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
The Neutral Zone, with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to thank Maui Arts and Music Association, Treemakers Foundation of Maui, for their support. Since 1991, with hundreds of television shows and their MauiArtsandMusic.com website, they have championed self-sustainability on Maui. The Neutral Zone is heard live Mondays at 11 a.m. and replayed Saturday at 7 a.m. on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. We are back. I'm Jason Schwartz. I'm here with Sevan Thometz. We are on the Neutral Zone on 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, KAKU. For those of you who know television on Maui, AKAKU is our Maui Community Media. We have Akaku, which has really been a backbone of communication, free speech, and available so that all of you can create your own TV shows. And this is a spin-off because it's radio, it's not TV, but because we're on Facebook Live, we're sitting here in the studio, there's a giant blurred line. Just like a wonderful artist. When I think of you, I think of artists, but then in the next second, we were just sitting here and I realized I lived for a couple of years with Reverend Jim Kimmel up in Kula, and the Urantia Book suddenly got on my radar. I did maybe 25 shows with Jim.
Oh, yes.
Asking questions of him. And he'd respond, and we'd go to different places in the book. You just mentioned the Urantia Book. Tell me more about that, because you've been studying it a while.
I've been studying it for about 40 years.
40 years.
The first time I received it was here on the islands, the Big Island.
Oh.
A man came up to me and said, "You've got the kind of philosophy that you might enjoy this book." And when he handed it to me, the one thing that he said, which was, I think, sticks to me at all times, "This book is either the best science fiction book you've read, or it's true."
Oh, really? What he said?
Yeah. And I'm okay. And from that moment, I've been completely focused into reading it.
Wow.
It expands and has expanded my consciousness of God, the universe, Jesus Christ, all of the different variations.
Jim was an extremely capable guy, as you know.
Oh yeah,
he was, and he just completely got into it. And every Sunday he had groups getting together.
I've been to many of them.
Yeah. Well, the fourth section of that book, where it talks about the life and teachings of Jesus. I'm a Jewish kid, or I grew up Jewish, and I always thought that Christians, I was interested because I really wanted to get a close accounting of, is there someone coming in? I feel
Keep going.
Okay. That the Christians would get, oh, that's better. Thank you. See, that was the hands and feet of God. Tony is really not the show. He has the local show every day. But he's also the capable engineer and makes someone like me go on the air because I can't see buttons.
Right.
Yeah, good. But the first sections, when I first started, I started with Book 4, which was the life and teachings of Jesus.
You started with that?
That's when I started.
When you started reading it, right.
Because when I was interviewing Kimmel, the part that seemed most easily relatable
Exactly.
was the one that was akin with something they already knew about.
Right.
And I thought Christians would embrace it and dig in and really want to study for what happened between this day and that day. How does this piece go together with that piece? Oh, that makes logical sense. Now I understand what happened. But I found it like an opposite reaction.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's even like when you think about when Christ was here and he was presenting new concepts to the Jews and to, those who were in charge.
Right.
They were not willing to give up their cherished beliefs to expand beyond that.
Right.
And he never really took away from them what they believed, but he added to.
Yeah, it was like, I always was so amazed at that. I'm still believing that many Christians will say, the Urantia Book.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? I want to read it because, like you said, if you read sections 1, 2, and 3, I'm still struggling to get through it, but you've probably gone through it many times.
50.
50 times?
I've read it from front to back 50 times at least.
Wow. That must be an incredible source of inspiration for creativity.
It's exactly, that's the whole, I guess that's what I was trying to get at when I mentioned it, is just how inspiring it has been in my life.
Right.
You know, it's opened my consciousness to things that beyond even what I would question.
Anything out of there you could pick out and say, well, here's something. Well, anything that we can, I don't want to say tease. You guys don't want to be teased, but you would be like to be interested. Urantia book. I mean, I was playing, like I said, with the fourth section.
Right.
Jesus, but I was wondering about, is he here again?
He's here again.
Okay, she's coming out a little bit off.
Oh,
Camera doesn't.
You're off. You're
off.
coming off.
I'm off.
He knows what he's
What he
doing.
means is, I think, so, you know that thing about when you're too far from a microphone, you get that sort of room sound, versus when you eat it and they wonder why you sound.
Well, I'm surprised he hasn't come to me.
No, I'm see, it's interesting how our voices, you know, interesting. I know, but anything, because I always struggled when talking to Jim in an interview format to ask questions and reach into books 1, 2, and 3. And
Well,
you might pull
I can pull out regarding the concepts that kind of they throw around in regards to explaining them. That always has a very involved process, which the Urantia Book goes through. But it basically begins to express the creation of the universe. And it starts out, first of all, with an understanding of what God is, what God does, how he expresses himself, herself. And the point regarding the Trinity is probably one of the more difficult points to get across to people, and even in the Urantia Book, but it's relatively simple in the fact that, as I think most people have heard the story of that, well, let's put it simply, God is the thought, the Son is the word, and the Spirit is the action. And that is how the Trinity functions. And without the Trinity, there would be no Father, which is the major part of what we humans, how we can associate to God. We can only really associate to God as a Father, because it's the only way we can see that vast universe. But without having him creating the Trinity, which was being the Father of the Son, there would not be that Father essence.
Wow. So interesting also that concept, as I'm thinking about be, do, have. There's
a lot of different variations
that all have that same basic concept.
Right.
The Urantia Book, not only fascinating, I hope that, I know now it's going to re-stimulate me to, I think I'm going to pick up the book. I don't know where to begin. At the beginning.
I'll tell you something in regards to the difficulty of the Urantia Book. When I first read it, I couldn't understand hardly 75% of what I was reading. But I felt like I was basically shooting through the universe as I was reading it. So I decided at that point, I don't really need to understand as much as feel and experience what it was doing to my soul, my spirit, my being.
Did you read it aloud or you read it?
No, I read it silently.
Okay.
I remember a lot of times at that time I was working as a dishwasher. I'd put the Urantia book up on a shelf while I was doing dishes and be reading it and doing the dishes.
That's interesting. That's a thought and an action together.
Yeah.
So 40 years ago, I mean, I guess I was around 40 years ago. Trying to rewind. That's like in the
79.
70s, yeah.
Oh, no, 69.
Wow, isn't it?
That's when I first was introduced.
So that's 50 years ago. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, I know. Wow. Seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
To those of you out there who are, I want to say up in age, I don't know what up in age is anymore. I still feel like a kid, and I'm almost 69, so I don't feel like I'm ready for a retirement shelf. You know, our world is changing. We were talking earlier about how we who are, I want to say, you know, at least getting up there in age, we've had a lot of experience, going to the college and going and experiencing college classes with young people is like a double hitter. You go and you get to be there, and the young people get to see what an older person who is still open to learning and growing.
Yeah.
And it catches us up as older people to this incredible movement of our society over these 50 years that we're talking about. The acceleration of everything in our world, more people, more inventions, changes in technology, uses of resources, ideas coming together in new ways, available information that we never could get before, the ability to save it for later. Oh, the Akashic records can now be put on videotape. I'm laughing when I say all this stuff. But we've lived in a really amazing period of existence.
Absolutely.
And I cherish every day that I'm, like you said earlier, I can still live here in Maui because other people have attention on money and this and that, when the essence, again, we all have our own definitions, but to me, the essence of life is just that feeling of wholeness, that feeling of completeness, of oneness. When I can carry that into my actions, I see that in the work that you do, very holistic work. I mean, I almost want to, like, each of the areas of your art, so much is there. And I can see, you know, when you talk about the Urantia book, I was looking at some of your art online. I can see different worlds and different concepts. And whatever I see, you, quote, you don't control it as creator, but you spark that investigation, my investigation into what you're doing. So you've been very inspirational on many levels to me.
Oh, I'm very thankful for hearing that, because that's probably my major reason for being an artist. I have yet to actually be a known artist, but my drive is still...
Oh, you know, that's an interesting thing. I think of you as a diamond. And when people start looking at our shows and seeing what we're doing, they're going to spot this and spot you and all that you put out, because you are a top-flight, world-class guy. And your art always has just been so expressive to me. So, you know, that world-renowned, we wonder, someone once said to me, it's the work we do, it's not necessarily what others think of it or see it. So your gift has been your incredible creation and how you spark others, you know, so you're a success to me in so many ways.
Thank you.
So now, I know we're going all over the map. You mentioned to me you're an inventor, and I thought we should just stop here and shift another thing, because as people will look into you, they're going to see your art, and you probably are available through all these sources. Do you have any way that people can comfortably get in touch with you?
Again, it's all on my webpage, and my webpage is thirdleveldown.com.
thirdleveldown.com. And in our world of Google and Bing, you put Sevan Thometz.
Yeah, well, that will bring up multiple things, in regards to that.
It's like Schwartz. Jason Schwartz doesn't exactly come off. It's not Smith,
Yeah.
But, I really appreciate, and I've always appreciated. Every time I've seen you, I've seen a different facet. And like you say, because your art has been so different, you're not boring. You're really like a diamond. And the shine is, I didn't really know that you knew the Urantia Book. I had no idea that you knew my old friend Kimmel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know Kimmel and multiple different people. I even actually have met some of the original contact people of the Urantia Book.
Wow.
When I first got a hold of it, I had to go. I had to see what was going on, and so I met a lot of those people.
At the conventions and things, you mean? Or
no, this is directly at the 555 in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago.
Right.
Because I know the guy from Celestial Seasons.
Right.
Was somehow involved.
Right.
I guess heavily.
Right. Yeah.
Financed.
Yeah.
See, we all, these things all tie together in our world. It's very interesting.
There's even been talk about Jimi Hendrix had read the Urantia Book.
Oh, see, that's good.
And that's why it said, "Are you experienced?"
Wow.
But speaking of experience, one of the things that we've gone through, both you and I, is getting the opportunity to be supported or helped by the government to allow us to go back to school.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's just amazing.
Many of you know that we are students, and when we stop learning, we stop growing.
Exactly.
And our world keeps moving. So there's a financial aid program available, FAFSA. It's a Federal Assistance for Financial Aid, FAFSA. And when you go there, you discover, wow, there's student aid. You can go back to school, and the government will give you loans and some grants if qualified.
They give you good grants.
And that you can go back. So here, as older American, I've gone back to school to keep polishing the apple, to keep learning, keep growing. As the new programs are coming out, and computer, and phone, and all the things that make our world today so unique, even in the last 20 years. When I see kids and they're on the phone, the old people always comment. First thing they comment, they're all on their phones. That's the way the world is now. We're all plugged in. But we learn through this financial aid. It has been hasn't it been a great experience?
Oh, it's already been great. I was surprised when the classes I took.
At the college?
At the college.
University of Hawaii.
Right.
Maui College.
I was able to get straight A's.
There you go.
And it was probably, at my age at this point in time, I'm much more focused on learning rather than when I was at the age where...
Funny?
Yeah. I mean, it's like
they say, why is youth wasted on the young? And I was like, what a great experience to go into the class. That's what I do. I go in, I drink.
Oh, me too.
College.
Yeah.
And I don't worry about the grades, and I also am excelling. And we also find that some of these kids are pretty sharp.
Big time.
And it's a growth and learning curve in the interaction. We're like the old guy in the corner. I haven't really integrated in all the classes.
It's a challenge because, like you said, but at the same time, when I was in the classes, and we'll be going back this fall, but at that point in time, I realized that I want to communicate with these kids. I want to learn from them, even though I'm the older guy. They got that smarts, that quickness to their brains that I have to work a lot harder for.
So it's a good symbiotic thing because they're also looking at us and realizing that we're maybe as old as their parents and grandparents, but we're still interested in what they've got to say.
Exactly.
Show a level of interest, and they show it back. It's exciting. See, that's when I think about my Maui Arts and Music Association idea and where I was going and where it is going.
Yeah.
It's the education that we get to understand the landscape and see that all these young people are meant to be roles in this great picture that can save our planet, if you will. I don't know what save. The Urantia Book will probably say, oh, well, you can probably tell me. This is always an evolving story.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I am so thankful for the financial aid it has given me. I've used it part-time going to school. It's been like 6 years. A little bit of financial aid means a little less having to, quote, work in a conventional job. And as it opened up my mind and increased my skills, it also lets me introduce this idea of financial aid to all of you out there. And most amazing is the older Americans or older people that still really would like to know what these kids are doing with all these devices. And it could be frustrating, but boy, jump in here, I'll just keep yapping. What is your passion? You were talking about the invention. I don't want to go away.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, it's the way in which an airbrush artist can change and mix colors on the fly.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, you actually did kind of a little quick interview with me and so forth. And it adapts to the majority of airbrushes. And basically what it is a valve system that through manipulating 5 different valves, each having incremental
color.
Well, you get color, but they also have, you can slide it, open more, less, and open all of them at one time if you choose, to be able to mix any color existing in the spectrum using the primary colors and white.
When I'm thinking about that, my mind is off to, I'm seeing a computer screen and seeing the little slider that shows add more light, and here's our rainbow around the circle, or however it's done in a computer. It's the manual approach to what they're doing in the computer, how to mix all colors and assign them different numbers, and you do it physically with basically with
the dial, yeah.
How did it take you long once you developed this to learn how to use it effectively?
Well, for me, it was pretty much right away.
Okay.
But I have noticed, and I've sold quite a few, but I have noticed that it's very difficult for people to take that effort to really learn how to utilize it. Now, when they start using the airbrush, they've had to go through a very complex process of learning that. But it appears to me that when they receive my particular device, they don't seem to want to put that same amount of effort. Maybe it's, I don't know. But there are challenges in regards to working with it. It's working on a gravity type of situation. So if one color is down lower than the other, there's going to be a different flow. And as it's being used, it will change.
Right.
So you'll have to adjust to that change.
That sure seems like something that people would want to get into. I mean, it makes their whole, as you said, if you're an airbrush artist and you have a single color, it sure would be nice to have your whole palette right there. It's like when we watch the new, I keep going back to the computer, Apple's new Apple Pencil, where you tap it to be able to change functions on the fly rather than having to go and set up your physical world of airbrushing.
Right.
What an amazing tool. This is available through your website? How do people?
It's on my website. I'm the only one that actually sells it.
I see.
And it's under the name of Prism Airbrush Palette.
Prism Airbrush Palette.
Right.
Well, that's a very exciting. To me, that's very exciting. That's a very exciting invention. And is it comfortably affordable to airbrush artists?
It's $97.
Oh, that's comfortably affordable.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as I say, it adapts to the majority of existing airbrushes.
Is this something that, as you're learning airbrush, that would be a wonderful tool?
It would be.
Learning.
I would think that would be the best way.
That way, the level of interest and involvement is as you're learning.
As you're learning. Yeah.
Right? So it's almost like every machine should have one of these with them.
I would hope. I would think.
No,
I would want.
It can change the world. Can change the world. The world of an airbrush artist. That's a whole other skill. You've been when you do these murals, were you doing them all in airbrush?
I have, even the largest one.
Wow.
And actually, I made it so that what I did was also I created a backpack for the large murals.
Yes.
That contained quarts and pints of the colors. And it actually will adapt to a large spray gun. If you want to talk about changing of colors, bam, 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 bam. I mean, it's so fast you can't even keep up with it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, there's a whole, I guess, the market, well, what do they say? If you build it, they will come. If they see it, they will come. So we hope that people can get a chance to explore Prism
Airbrush Palette.
And is it by itself findable on the net?
Actually, it might be. I don't know for sure.
3 words, maybe. Prism Airbrush Palette.
Right. I think it would be, actually.
And if not,
but I've never checked.
See it now.
On my web page, it will be talking, it will say something. I think it says Prism AirStart or AirPal on one of the little...
Right, one of the links
links up on the top.
So, did you learn the internet stuff at school? No, you knew that stuff before, or
yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah, I just started picking up when I first came here.
First came to Hawaii.
Right, and started just playing with it, learning whatever I could.
Right.
And part of the reason why I did want to go to school, of course, is to expand my awareness of all of the different programs, as we were talking about, that are being available, and how to proceed in regards to marketing.
Marketing is the one piece at the college. They have marketing, but they still think old style. I'm still looking to see the...
That's what I'm curious about, but
I want to say desperately. They offer it in Adventure as a pay course, but in the regular curriculum, I didn't see anything that showed the ins and outs on the internet marketing side.
Well, I thought that was part of what the creative media program was all about.
Well, I'm hoping to see it.
Because when I was talking to... what was the name of Brian? He was showing me all of the new things he was wanting to present.
Oh, so it's coming soon.
Yeah. Now, like you had said, it was just this last year that this program was even existing.
Well, it's like I told you, I was sort of here at the front. I was hoping for this program in all these 5 years. So we'll see whether maybe I'm going to have to come over to your house to learn how to do it. Because it's nice that they're getting to that. Because that's the most...
Well, that is the meat of the whole thing. And that was what Brian convinced me in regards to his saying, well, you know, we're going to be showing you how to present yourself, the tools, the processes, and how to even getting things into action as we're going through school.
Sounds like a Urantia Book thing. Like a thought, word.
And there we go. That woke me right up. I said, yep, that's where I'm going.
That's where I'm going. And I also am in the same kind of program there, the creative media program.
Yeah.
I hope all of you are going to go explore the University of Hawaii Maui College, federal financial aid programs. And again, I'm just thrilled to know that these kind of programs exist and it's available for all of us.
I will express one thing in regards to that.
Yeah.
Go to the counselor first. They will walk you through so that it will be easy for you to apply and get the thing started.
Gotcha. See, that means that there's already a road for you to walk on. I was there carving a road.
Yeah.
You know, I can't almost believe it, but we have only a minute left. Isn't that amazing?
Well, we've gone through a lot.
You know, we have, but, you know, I hope that you'll come back. I hope you'll do, I'm going to do a TV thing, so we're going to have more room to show some more of your stuff, Ben.
Cool.
And get to explore. Sevan Thometz, not only a wonderful guy, thank you for being here at the show.
Well, I appreciate being here.
Pleasure. Meeting you. We've got about 30 seconds. What do you think you want to say? 20 seconds. What would you like to say to these guys besides hello? Maybe that's it.
God is love.
God is love. That's a great thing to say. See that? Boil it all down. Thank you all for joining us. Sevan Thometz here with Jason Schwartz on the Neutral Zone. Check us out at MauiNeutralZone.com. Check all of our shows out. Check all these people out. Been bringing wonderful people and more coming next week. And we'll see you soon. And thank you for joining us.